The last chapter we'll be covering is Chapter 18, Creating Competitive Advantages. It's very important to understand your competitors, who you're up against. A lot of companies spend a lot of time on their products and their services, the marketing aspect, the advertising, but tend to forget sometimes who else is out there, who has an equal or better product out there. So it's very important that when you launch your product or when you're going into a new business, it's important to understand who else is out there and who your competition is. One company that comes to mind that really does a great job in understanding the competition is Target. Slowly but surely, they've been really going after Walmart and their clients. Their strategy is focused on providing very good value. They've introduced new designs. They've actually even played around with the idea of having a grocery store by testing that in the Philadelphia market. And as a result of this kind of target strategy in going after Walmart's target market, net earnings have rose by 18.4% and gross margins increased by 0.2%. So when we look at achieving competitive advantage, we look at a few things. Obviously, delivering value and satisfaction, but also going after the right clients, going after profitable customer relationships. So a competitive analysis should compose a few things. One, identify who those competitors are, and then understand what are their objectives, what are their strategies, what are their strengths and weaknesses. So almost within our own SWOT analysis, do an internal SWOT analysis of our own competition, and then select which competitors to attack or to avoid. It's very important to know that you shouldn't go after every competition, and there might be some competition that you may want to avoid. When we look at an objective of competitors, it could be growing in a certain marketplace. They could be leaders in technology or leaders in service. We also have to understand what do they do, what are their weaknesses, how do we benchmark what their product or service does. And when we design a competitive intelligence system, we have to decide where do we get this information from, identify what the competitive intel is out in the marketplace. The best source from my own background is from my clients, really asking them what do they know about our competition. We should never be afraid to ask or feel uncomfortable about asking prospects or clients what they've seen from other competitive companies. Michael Porter, who has been a management guru, really has identified 4 competitive positioning strategies. One is cost leadership, differentiation, focus, and middle of the road. When we look at cost leadership, basically it's achieving the lowest production and distribution costs. Companies such as Costco, Walmart, and Target really truly follow this strategy as an overall cost leader. We also have differentiation, which means that a company is really standing out. Apple is a great example of this. A focus strategy is when a company focuses effort on serving a few market segments. So they're really kind of specializing in one target market or one area. One company that comes to mind is Tiffany's. Some other management gurus or marketing gurus is Michael Treacy and Fred Wasserman will suggest that companies can gain leadership positions through other competitive strategies, through operational excellence, customer intimacy, or product leadership. Operational excellence means that a company is basically running their company very lean and mean, and really their whole goal is by achieving profitability is through operational efficiency. Customer intimacy means that you're tailoring your products and services towards your target market. So it really has to do with delivering satisfaction and customer relationship and service. Product leadership, really self-explanatory, is when you're open to new ideas. Product leadership is all about innovation. And once again, we've talked about this throughout the semester, is Apple being one of those companies that really truly have followed this competitive strategy of being a leader in their industry. The positions in the marketplace, there are 4 of them. You can either be a market leader, a market challenger, a market follower, or a market nicher. The market leader basically is someone who has the largest market share. The market challenger is one that basically is the second or the runner-up to that market leader, is always looking to increase their market share and gain more marketability from the market leader. Market followers are firms that want to hold on to the market share, so they're not necessarily competing against their challengers or competing against the leaders. And market niches are firms that serve smaller markets. So some of the strategies that we look at is when we expand total for market leaders is their strategy could be to go after new users or a new use of their product. Some of them protect their current market by fixing the weaknesses within their own product or service. They have consistent pricing, or they may expand their market share to equal increased profits, meaning that they focus more on the quality of what they're doing in their product or service. Market challengers, their strategy involves more advertising, focusing on price, or distribution. So for instance, we look at a company like Red Bull, who's a market leader. They have 65% share of the energy market and 35% annual sales growth. So a market challenger may try to get some of that market share and steal it away from Red Bull. A second mover advantage occurs when a market follower observes what has made the leader successful and improves on it. So for instance, you're basically just stealing the idea from a market leader and making some type of improvement or making some type of change on it. An ideal market niche strategy is when a company is basically small enough that they can specialize in one area. It could be in a specific market, going after a specific customer, or they might specialize in one specific area of a product. But there must be a clear balance between all this. You can't just focus on just product. You can't focus on the customer. You just can't focus on competition. And there are many examples of some companies that have actually built their business on going after one competitor, or focus on their business on going or focusing on one consumer segment. You really have to have a balance between being competitor-centered, customer-centered, or market-centered. So for the discussion questions, what I'd like you to do in your groups on Blackboard is identify an industry that you believe to be the most competitive. It could be anything. It could be airlines, it could be automotive, it could be clothing, and just pick one industry. Now within that industry, what I'd like to do is identify who the market leader is, who the market challengers are, who the market followers are, and who the market nichers are. So go within that industry and identify each of these levels of leaders, challengers, followers, and nichers.